All right, coming up on 1 o'clock now here at the KFYR Plus News Desk. And today we are joined by Dr. Brett Bolton, founder of Great Hair Transplants and creator of the Max Harvest Technique. With nearly 30 years of experience, Dr. Bolton offers rare insight into why hair restoration has become a global trend among younger adults. Dr. Bolton, thank you for your time today. I sure appreciate you visiting with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, Dr. Bolton, hair transplants were once a private, almost kind of a taboo topic. Today, younger adults are flying overseas across the world and sharing every step on Instagram. What do you think sparked this
So yeah.
cultural shift from secrecy to status symbol?
Oh, there's multiple reasons, but I think you hit the nail on the head. The social media craze has changed everything with all the different influencers that are going out and having the different types of procedures done and then showcasing every step of the way and making it look nice and simple and easy. So I think that's had a huge effect. The other big fact is all these commercials and these advertisements for the online treatment, such as Hims
Hmm.
and Roman and these different places where you can now get all sorts of remedies for whatever you need. But for hair in particular, you're able to go online, fill out a form, and now you're able to get FDA approved treatments to help prevent future hair loss. So it's been a revolution as far as hair restoration is concerned.
Do you think this openness has improved education or created some unrealistic standards?
Both. What's happened is you see the best case scenarios always, and so a lot of the viral videos that are out there are the patients that are getting these spectacular results, and they're getting results quicker. And unfortunately for everybody, everybody's not a home run case. A lot of
Hmm.
patients don't have the ingredients to get the great results, and what I mean by that is they may not have the best donor hair to use for the recipient site. Some patients might have a finer hair type. Some patients might have thinner hair. Some patients might have less density. So there's a lot of factors that go into the key ingredients in order to make one of those home run results. But there's definitely plenty of them out there if you have the right ingredients for sure.
Okay, I've had to ask, why has Turkey become the epicenter of luxury hair transplant travel?
The quick easy answer is it's very reasonably priced compared to the way it was in the United States is to get a quality hair transplant. It still to this moment it's not that easy. You have a much better chance of getting a poor result than you do of getting a good result. And so a lot of patients were paying a lot of money and they just weren't getting the result that they were looking for. And so
Hmm.
when this revolution came with social media and these more affordable hair transplants, everyone kind of jumped on the bandwagon. Well, I might as well try it. But unfortunately, what a lot of patients are learning is that every doctor is not created equal. Just like, we all have different skill sets, and hair transplants is not, you just don't go anywhere. The majority of the work that I do, I've been doing this now for 28 plus years, and I mostly do corrective surgery. And my patients will fly from all over the world to have me correct what they've done. So they'll go to their local doctor or they'll go fly out to Turkey because they believe they're going to get this great result. And then they're disappointed. They might have a very unnatural looking hairline, or they might have, very poor results as far as density is concerned, or they might have, weird irritation or scarring or something that's not the way they want it. And then now they're saying, oh boy, I have to do some real research. And then they're going to find a skilled, accredited doctor that's going to be able to get them where they want to be.
Could the luxury travel aspect, with the hotels, they've got the VIP packages, could that be just as important as the medical procedure itself? Hey, listen, we're going to Turkey. I'll get my hair done and we'll see a beautiful country.
Wonderful. And what is your recourse if it goes wrong? Who's working on you when you go into that center in Turkey?
Yeah.
The sad part of all of this is you don't know anybody who's working in that office. And that's even true in the United States with the new procedures that they're doing. The follicular unit extraction, which is the new craze that they call it the latest, greatest, best technique, is essentially one of the oldest techniques in hair transplants. It's the reinvented plug. It's a punch biopsy where they're punching a hole out of the back of your head, but instead of it being one of those bigger grafts that we used to call the plugs, they're now calling it a follicular unit extraction. So it's a big, nice word that sounds very fancy, but it's a reinvented plug. And so what's happened is the craze has become for this FUE, but technicians are doing it. Doctors that aren't hair transplant specialists are hiring technicians to come do the procedure while they're in the other room doing their dermatology practice, or they're doing their nose jobs or boob jobs or whatever else they're doing in their practice. And these technicians that are not licensed physicians are doing the procedures in many cases. And so you got to be careful because you don't know who's doing your procedure. You don't know if they're licensed to specifically make punctures into your skin or scalp. And it's like the Wild West, in my opinion, right now in hair transplants. And you have to be very careful about who you choose because it's not as simple as people think.
Dr. Bolton, let's talk about some common misconceptions about budget transplants versus premium procedures.
So, that's with anything. You get what you pay for. I tell everybody when you're looking to do anything in cosmetic surgery, um, don't shop price. That is the last thing you're looking for. What you're looking for is a doctor that's going to produce a quality result. So you want to meet with patients. You want to see before and after photos. You want to see testimonials. You want to be able to see real live patients. Um, if you're just shopping for price, the sad part is you're going to get what you pay for, and then in the long run, it's going to cost you more money to fix it. So I have these patients. I had this patient recently. I'll make this story quick. He went to one doctor for that FUE procedure. He said, "Oh, I have the greatest team ever. They're going to do an amazing job." He had a he was like, okay, skeptical. The doctor was never there. This team that flew in did it. They were medical technicians, weren't licensed in the state, did his procedure, got his result, was disappointed. Did research, went all over, found another doctor, flew out to that doctor. So he was flying to each of these places because supposedly they were the best. Well,
Yeah,
here he is. He signed up for the surgery. Guess what? That same team that did his first
same
surgery
team.
was there for a second surgery. So then he got 2 times tricked by 2 different doctors in 2 different states that were flying in the same team to perform the procedure that they weren't even qualified to do. So he did his third procedure with me. We corrected it. We made it right. He's happy now. But that's just one of the examples. It's going to cost you more money if you try to make shortcuts than doing the proper research and finding the most qualified person or doctor that's best for what you're looking for sure.
This seems kind of an easy answer, but what are the biggest mistakes patients make when choosing a clinic abroad?
Well, the challenging part about when you're choosing abroad is you can't really do the kind of research you can in the United States as far as looking up the facility, as far as doing all the research about who's running the facility, about what recourse you have if something were to go wrong. So I
Hmm.
think they get sold by the social media aspect of it. Oh, look at me and look at me. I'm in this limousine and look at me. I'm at this beautiful hotel. But does that mean you're going to get a quality hair restoration? Maybe, but maybe not. So I'm very skeptical. I wish everybody the best, and I understand everyone's looking to save money, but I think you're going to be sorry if you don't do the right research and find the proper physician or clinician in order to get you the proper result with the required scrutiny of looking at those before and afters and talking to those patients. And you don't get to do that when you're out of the country.
Dr. Bolton, I'm assuming there's got to be some aftercare after the process itself, right? The procedure, and they don't just put you on a plane and say, see you later with your head all bandaged up. I'm sure you stick around for a day or two, but if something were to happen, why would a doctor say, yeah, come on over here, let me fix the mistake? And I'm sure you probably have to do that for the patient's well-being, but what about the aftercare?
So, the nice thing about hair transplants is you don't necessarily have to be there the following day. If there were to be an issue, it would be great to have that clinic or a physician nearby, obviously.
Hmm.
But for the most part, unless there is something like catastrophic that happens, that you accidentally bumped your head and knocked your grafts out, or if you've got some unusual infection, you would definitely obviously want to be near the facility to get the proper treatment. But for the most part, the great thing about hair transplants in general is we don't see a lot of those issues. It's usually something silly that the patient's doing. They're bumping their head, or they're getting out of the car and they knock their grafts out. And that's happened even here in the United States, obviously, with my patients. Like, I had a patient recently who was coming out of the Uber, and he hit his head and he knocked his grafts, and he called us up and we said, come right back. And, we put them all back in, and you just pray everything stays healthy. But it's the same issues they would have abroad that they would have here. But the big ones are going to be infection and accidents and things of that nature.
Is that a painful process, Doc?
So the quick answer is no. Everything's done under local anesthesia. We do it right here at the facility. We give you, just like when you go to the dentist, you might get a couple local anesthesia shots that help to do
Hmm.
local numbing of the area. Once you get those little pinches, initial pinches in, you don't really feel anything because it's all numb. And so the patient basically sits in a chair, they watch TV, they eat snacks, and it moves pretty quickly. The real discomfort comes the following evening, if they're not following their instructions. The patients that listen and they sit still and they minimize their motion and they help keep their blood pressure down, those patients are going to do a lot better than the patients that don't listen, and they go and they move around and they go out for dinner with their friend, or they go home and they do some work around the house. That's going to increase their blood pressure. That's going to increase their chances of swelling. That's going to increase their chance that they might do something silly like bump their head. So those patients are going to have a little bit more of a challenge during the healing process versus the patient that's following their instructions.
Do you see hair restoration evolving further into a lifestyle upgrade rather than a medical procedure?
Uh, That's a great question. I like that question. Yeah, I think what's happening now today more so than ever is everybody sees social media and they're looking at these people with these flawless faces and this great hair, but they don't realize everything's filtered and everything's a
Hmm.
facade, unfortunately. And they're striving for this perfection that truly doesn't exist. So I think it's in their mind, that's where it's heading, what you're saying. It's this luxury. But the reality is, when we do a hair transplant, we're doing it for ourselves. We're trying to change our self confidence. We're trying to feel better about ourselves. And that's what my patients say, from my young patients that are as young as 18 to my patient I had last week that he was in his late 80s. They say, I just don't feel the way I used to feel inside. When I look in the mirror, I don't feel the way I did. And I want to restore that. And then when they get their hair back, it gives them that self confidence back. It helps change the way they see themselves. And that just changes their whole life, as corny as that may sound, because now all of a sudden they feel better about themselves. They're able to make that first connection with somebody. They're able to go to that job interview. They're able to carry themselves with confidence, and it changes everything around them in their world. And it really makes a difference.
What does the future of this industry look like in the next decade, sir?
Oh gosh, I love your questions. You got awesome questions. I would love to know. This whole AI has really opened
Yeah.
everything up, and are they going to come out with a way to stop hair loss through the DNA? And hey, we see in chromosome blah blah blah. We need to check that and fix that, and we fix your hair. Or are we going to be able to reverse the hair loss, maybe with artificial intelligence? Or are we going to use artificial intelligent robots to do our transplants? Great questions. And 10 years is a long ways away as fast as we're moving today. I mean, things can be changing in the next year or so. So it's exciting. I look forward to the revolution. I'm excited to see what happens.
Do you use any AI with your practice right now?
I currently do not. We use AI with our phone operating system currently.
Okay.
We have AI that will help follow up with patients and make sure that patients are, everything's getting answered for them and followed up with. But right now, we're not using them physically in the office space currently.
Dr. Brett Bolton, founder of Great Hair Transplants and the creator of the Max Harvest Technique, thank you for the insights today, sir. I sure appreciate it. I hope you have a happy New Year.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Happy holidays, happy New Year, and thanks again for having me.
You got it. We'll hopefully catch up with you soon, sir. Goodbye. It is 14 minutes now past the hour. We'll take a quick break here at the news desk. We're right back here on KFYR Plus next.